Kaye Doran is an entrepreneur, facilitator, speaker, women's leadership, and life coach. She is a shamanic healer and creator of inner expressions. With over 3 decades of experience, Kaye is an unshakable optimist. Inner Expressions is in business to empower women with self worth and the ability to create change. She does this by supporting women to feel and know their inner power. So, thank you so much, Kaye, for being here with me today and checking in from beautiful Australia. I'm so excited to have you here.
I'm really excited to be here, Jasmine, and to have this conversation.
Thank you, thank you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Well, I'm a women's leadership and life coach and also a shamanic healer, so a very interesting mix.
Uh-huh.
I've been working with people, and predominantly women, for around 30 years. You know, helping, my passion really is to help women that want to create a change in any given area of their life, but they start to feel stuck, you know, or come up with excuses like I'm time poor, I don't know enough yet, you know, and sort of what I term avoidance tactics, and that fear sort of starts to set in. And then they hit non-action, you know, which is actually really damaging. So, you know, I love to come in and help them understand the process and start to take action and actually get past that comfort zone, which can be a challenging thing to do. And then to start to really empower themselves. My whole thing is it's great if you can have a coach and they're motivating you. But for me, it's important that women become self-motivated.
Yes.
So that's really what I like to do with women, get them self-motivated, get them in touch with their sense of knowing and, you know, understanding the processes and the cycles so that they can lean in and basically, as I say, get into the driver's seat. And then when I was in my 40s, I suppose I hit my plateau of my comfort zone. So I felt that it was important that I go out into the workforce, and I did for 10 years. That was a bit of a challenge because I was used to people seeking me out and wanting to grow. And then here I am sort of entering a sales environment and management with people going, well, who do you think you are? So I experienced a lot of bullying, which I'm sure a lot of women have experienced in the workforce as well. And, you know, I wanted to grow rapidly and take my skill set. So I sort of moved then into a district sales management role and then area management. And then I experienced bullying from upper management. And I realized I was getting to a point where I was betraying my values. And this is what I love to do with women as well, get them aligned with their values and the life that they love to live. So I put on 20 kilos and, you know, had that, I'm sure a lot of women have heard themselves say this, I'll leave on my terms. But my job was so busy. I started so early, finished so late. I was exhausted and I didn't take any action, you know? So, but life took over and the bullying management made a redundancy. And that was the best thing that could have happened to me. And then I couldn't get work because everyone could tell my age on my resume, the way I had it, for 11 months. But that was the best thing that happened to me. I took control of my life, not knowing where finances were going to come from. I invested in a top personal trainer who changed my nutrition. I had personal training. I got strong. I said goodbye to the 20 kilos that I'd put on, and that had come on because of non-action, because of staying stuck in my comfort zone. And then I thought to myself, you know what, because I'm in my 50s now, I'm too old to betray myself again like that and to allow myself to be treated like that, be in an environment. And I learned a lot, managing teams, deconstructing, you know, disruptive teams and building teams where everyone had each other's back and they worked together as a team. But it really wasn't my passion. Do you know what I mean? It really wasn't what I thought what I was born to do. And long story short, I joined a multi-level marketing business in skincare, went to get a coach and said, right, I need to build this business and then I can leverage back into coaching, which is my passion. And she gave me one coaching session and she said, no, Kaye, you are a coach. You know, we're going to flip it.
Yes.
So, yep, then I ended up with another job that I actually really loved, as a state trainer for a makeup brand, and working with women, building teams and the sales. And one person tried to bully me, and I took complete control of it and dismantled it. And that was actually a great job. What happened was very busy in the day job, being coached after hours, and then coaching others after hours.
Wow.
And I knew that something would have to give. And I was almost at that point where I said to my husband, I think the day job's going to have to give. And then COVID came. And the universe went, right, we'll take control of it for you, Kaye. There's a redundancy.
Yeah, there you go.
And it was just perfect timing. So I can focus 100% on doing what I was born to do. And that's to help empower women.
Okay. Awesome. So where did you find yourself merging the shamanic healing along with the life coach? At what point did you say those two qualities go great together, and that was where you were taking the next step?
Yeah, because obviously coming back to my coaching, it had elevated with all the experiences that I'd had. And here's the key thing. You know, my first coach tried to pull me apart. And you're either this or you're that. And intuitively, I thought, no, I have to be authentic to who I am. And all the gifts that I have, you know, I'm a qualified trainer, I'm a qualified master life coach, I've been doing shamanic healing work, and that's a whole gift. And to work with people, for me, energy patterns have to change. Everything in its purest form is energy, color, sound, and number. And I work a lot with sound when I do the shamanic side. But when I'm working with women, I'm able to read. It's almost like they tell me what they most need in the language that they need it for the shift to happen. And the shift has to happen mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, or energetically, for it to be sustainable. So it's just a natural way of me working with people. And then there are times where, you know, they need to shift something, they need to heal something. So I can use certain shamanic practices in the coaching. For an example, a woman that I was working with the other day, and she's up leveling her business. She's now taking on staff. She's got 3 young kids. You can imagine she's got an incredibly busy life, and she's going past her comfort zone. But a couple of triggers were there. And it was this old pattern of her not wanting to be seen. There was a shame from her childhood that was starting to rear itself as she was needing to be seen in a whole new way. So within 15 minutes, we could clear it, because every time we're about to make a decision, Jasmine, there's a part of us in an alternate place that makes the opposite decision. Okay. So the woman that goes to leave her husband in an alternate state, she didn't. And we can access these parts of us and gain wisdom. So I said to her, well, back then, when you decided to feel shame about that experience, there's a part of you living in an alternate space that didn't. She made a different choice. So let's contact her and ask her wisdom. So I just took her through a meditative practice, and then she walked through the door. And this woman was up on stage in her, like, everything surprises the client. They're like, oh, I wasn't thinking that. It's just there. And this is where we have to let our imaginations not try to control it. So this other self was up on stage. She was commanding the room. She was educating, which is what my client loves to do, about body and health and being free from pain. And then when she came off stage, I got my client to ask her advice. How did you move beyond shame to get this level of success? And I watched my client when she got the answer, and she's like, oh. So I asked her at the end what it was, and this other alternate self said, ignore 50% of what's being said to you. And it shifted her, and it empowered her. And she was able to step into going, that's the woman I'm now aligned with. That confident woman up on stage, educating people, building her business, sharing her message, no longer carrying shame. So the shamanic, some of my shamanic practices can really free people. because we've got to address the understanding of it, the understanding of the process when we hit our comfort zone and want to break free of it.
Yeah.
And then there's also the level of, there are times to just lean in and push through with the understanding.
Mm-hmm.
But then there are times to create a shift of something that's sitting hidden from us.
Right, right. Okay.
Yeah. And if you don't shift it, you're sort of pretending it. You're carrying it around with you the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah. And then it holds you back, right? So.
Yeah. So to me, it's like I don't do one or the other.
Uh-huh.
This is just who I am, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does.
It's just how I work. It's I can see what's going on with an individual. And like I said, it's more like they're telling me what I need to know.
Yeah.
And where they're at.
Right.
And then, because when I run group coachings, they'll all say to me, but you speak to us all differently. And I go, yes, because you all relate to different descriptions, different words. You know, we all use different language to explain something similar. Mm-hmm. So I can adapt and speak in a way so they get that trigger, they get that understanding.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. So that brings me to, so what is the purpose of fear when moving through the comfort zone? Why is fear important and relevant and necessary?
I love talking about this, Jasmine. I really love talking about this.
Awesome.
So many people out there are putting out this story that fear, self-doubt, all those things are a negative and we want to get rid of the negatives. Mm-hmm. I'm all about integration and acceptance and inclusion. So when you judge something and you try to suppress and ignore and get rid of, it becomes like a tantrum throwing child that just wants to be noticed. And it's fighting to come out and be heard all the time. So it's not negative. When you're getting to your top point of your comfort zone and you've got an aspiration to change a particular area of your life, it's like having a double elastic band around us. One elastic band is connected to where you are now, what you're familiar with. Then you've got another elastic band that's connecting you to your aspiration, where you desire to be. Right. So the more you start to take a little bit of action, you get to that point where your subconscious will pull you back because it's predominantly being ruled by your unconscious. And the unconscious is all those stories that are false. It's full of non-truths. It's like a cupboard of all non-truths. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I don't have what it takes. Wow. Right? Yeah. So when the fear comes up, it's a signpost, Jasmine. When the fear and the self-doubt come up, it is a signpost saying, hey, girl, you're heading in the right direction. You're just going to have to grow now. Yeah. So fear becomes your friend because it's telling you exactly where you are at in this moment. And that is at a growth process. Yeah. And then what you need to do is you need to go, well, all of that from my unconscious, because the subconscious always says yes. So if you let the unconscious rule and it says you're not good enough, the subconscious will go, right, let's create something in your life so you can respond from that I'm not good enough. Yeah. So everything the unconscious is telling the subconscious just goes, yes. Yes. Right? Yeah. So if we can understand, this is where understanding is so powerful, that when the fear and the self-doubt come up and the excuses and the avoidance tactics, oh, I don't have time and all the rest of it, that's actually telling us that one, it's coming from our unconscious, all those non-truths. Two, oh my God, I'm actually heading in the right direction because I'm going to have to grow. And I don't know who I'm growing into and what I'm going to have to let go of to become that next level of myself. And then three, we need to align with that little voice that told you to write the book, that little voice that said, Jasmine, do a podcast, start a business, you know, get fit, whatever it might be. That is the voice of your future now moment. Yeah. Speaking to you. Like, you know, when people say to you, oh, Jasmine, what would you say now to your 16-year-old, to the child? Yeah. Well, we've already got that aspect that's already achieved that outcome that's successful. Right. So we need to that, you know, some people will call that the super conscious. You could call it your divine, your knowing, your whatever you like. I call it the future now moment, but that's the language.
Okay.
That's the one that's going, no, you're already successful in your future. That's why I'm calling you.
Yeah.
That's why you've got that moment of intuitiveness. And I don't even like intuitive. It's a knowing.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
I wrote that book. I know. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So
yeah.
we need to empower that voice.
Uh-huh.
The voice of I can, I am, I will.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible. So I recently interviewed another lady who offers meditation, and she's written a book on the knower curriculum, and she speaks about the knower is you, your mind, your body. There's a few other, I'm probably misquoting it, but she was very specific in saying it's your subconscious. There's something there that you know, and there's a deeper level that's speaking to you, very much like what you're saying, but in a different terminology, but still.
Same thing.
Yes.
Yeah. And you know what? Meditation is the key. I've taught meditation for the same thing, 30 years. I've got free meditations on my website. It is the foundation that teaches us the mental discipline, the emotional discipline, the connection into that knowing.
Yeah.
Do you know, it's like root system.
Yes.
We need that because that's the root system that then can grow this incredible tree called our life. And, you know, getting back in the driver's seat means, okay, I'm going to put that fear, doubt, insecurity, and excuses into the passenger seat. Okay. And it's going to be a little bit like, I always use this analogy because there's a story from my daughter. You know, have you ever been on a road trip with someone that's annoying?
Oh, yeah.
You're stuck in the car with them. You got to keep going on the road trip. Do you know, and eventually they'll just quieten down. So we have to, you know, get comfortable with feeling uncomfortable and just go, okay, this is my sabotage. I'm going to put that in the passenger seat. Yes, it's going to be irritating and it'll be there, but I'm going to feed the knowing voice. I'm going to sit in the driver's seat.
Yep.
And I'm going to move. I'm going to take some action while I've got that sitting next to me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's the whole purpose of this podcast and YouTube, is to speak about those uncomfortable moments and how we persevere and push past it and get to our next level, to our next to our next evolution, so that we can better ourselves, you know, because as humans, we need to continue to evolve, or we're just going to stay stagnant and the world is going to fly by beyond us, and we're just kind of stuck here in 1999, and we don't want to be there. We want to be just as advanced and as growing as everyone else.
Absolutely, Jasmine. And the more that we stay stagnant, that's where depressions come in. Drinking too much, eating too much, you know, because we're actually constantly then disappointed in ourselves because we've given up on listening to that knowing voice, our aspirations. And that's the thing, that if you don't put that in the passenger seat, if you don't go, it's going to be uncomfortable. Do you know what I mean? I mean, for women that have given birth, it's not pleasant, you know, but right at the end, you've got this incredible life in your hands.
Yeah.
And that's all forgotten. Do you know what I mean?
That's a wonderful analogy. I love that. I think the childbirth analogy was like the aha moment for, if not me, then many other people out there who will be listening to this. It's just knowing that, you know, if you've ever bared a child, you would know that, yes, it's the agony of the 9.5 months. Some may have nauseating morning sickness, and then others may just be very ill the entire time, and some may just have a very pleasant journey. But then at the end result,
but they all have, sorry, Jasmine, they will all have the moment of fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
If you haven't given birth before. Now, I've given birth 3 times, and the second time there was still that moment of fear, because every birth is different.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's that unknown, but you still have to go through it. To me, it's an alchemical moment. You know, the greatest pressure just before something transforms. If you watch water boiling, you can see that moment where the pressure builds and then it boils and turns to steam. So it's a little bit like, again, if we have that understanding, I'm in that alchemical process. I'm in that process of transformation and change and rebirthing myself in a way. And then the other thing is, if you stay stagnant, then you are constantly listening to the false stories and beliefs. Now, Would you speak to a child if a beautiful boy or girl came to you and said, Jasmine, I'm useless and I'm ugly and I can't do anything? Would you go, yeah, I know you are?
No, of course not.
No.
Yeah.
No. So why do we speak to
Right.
ourselves in a way that we would not speak to any other child?
Yeah.
Why do we do that to ourselves? And so many women wake up when I put it like that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh,
Right.
then
Good point.
yeah, yeah. You know, what gives you the right to diminish that part of yourself in such a horrible, lessening, bullying way?
Yeah. No, 100%. That makes total sense. It's again, another great just example. The boiling water, the speaking to a child. I mean, that's how we treat ourselves. We tell ourselves we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, we're not pretty enough, we're not, skinny enough. We tell ourselves all these things, or maybe at least I tell myself that sometimes, and we're putting ourselves down before we've even had the opportunity to take that leap of faith and just step into the next.
Yeah. And the same thing, if you say, right, I'm going to write a book, and Monday night I'm going to allocate an hour to starting that.
Yeah.
Right. When you get to that point, and if you start making excuses, and I know what it's like because I was making, trainings and things like that. I had my day job. I'd get coached. I'd come home. I'd give myself an hour dinner, half an hour to relax, and then I would be exhausted.
Yeah.
And there would be a part of me going, oh, I'll do it Tuesday.
Right.
And then I'd go, hold on, my word is my bond. And if I break that, I'm actually going to feel worse about myself. So I go, my word is my bond, because truth to me and that level of integrity is important. So that statement for me has power. My word is my bond. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get up out of the chair. And then 5 minutes into making that training, oh my God, the energy that came to me, because I was doing what I loved. I'd honored my word and I'd taken a step forward towards the end result. And again, that understanding, if we can understand that and go, I'm making excuses and avoidance tactics, and I'm only going to feel worse about myself if I listen to that.
Yeah. Wow. So tell me, Kaye, when is intention set to create change in a given area? And why is it that the change is not achieved so often by many?
Because of exactly that. They flatline.
Yeah.
Remember I said to you, I call it flatline because it's dead.
It's my logo. It's my logo, and then it flatlines, and then it starts to.
Yeah, and hey, I get it. I said at the beginning that when I was the area manager, that I flatlined. I'll leave on my terms. I know I'm not in the right job. I don't deserve to be treated like this. But I didn't do anything to look for another job. I used the excuse of I was exhausted. I start work so early. I finish so late. And I was using all the excuses and avoidance tactics under the sun. So universe took over. I got bullied and a redundancy was made. But so I understand that. But from that, my health suffered, 20 kilos heavier, because building all that, I'd never been 20 kilos heavier. Like most women, I can fluctuate, but 20 kilos?
Yeah.
And the pain in my body and because I was just constantly flatlining and betraying myself. So that's why women don't. And what happens is, you know what? I went to a jungle. I went to Borneo a lot of years ago, and I wanted to go to the top of the mountain and meet some shamans. But I did the trek, but I needed a guide who knew the terrain to get me. And it turned out they were women, which I loved, female shamans. So what happens is we don't get the support we deserve. Women will spend money on everybody else. We'll spend money on clothes, shoes, bag, going out to dinners and all the rest. But we actually don't invest in ourselves.
Yes, that's true.
And when you're flatlining, we need to put our hand up and go, I need support. That's why you get a coach. And you get a coach, or if you're going for healing, you get a coach or a healer that's done the work themselves, that's still doing the work because it never stops. So they know the terrain. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
invest that money into yourself so you can create that life and those changes that you desire. And you know what? It's our birthright. We get to be, you get to be Jasmine once. You may have felt, you may as well do the best version of Jasmine that you can. You
Yeah.
may as well, and you deserve it. Is your birthright to have a life you love.
Yeah.
But you've got to learn the terrain,
Right.
get the support,
Yeah.
to be able to go through those moments to create that change. I'm back to the birth analogy. Don't we have doctors and midwives there?
We do. Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect. And I'm thinking, last year we went on a trip to Peru to go and visit one of the seven wonders, Machu Picchu. And,
Oh,
to get to Peru, to get to Machu Picchu, you have to, in order to go through it at all, you have to have a guide. Maybe you don't have to. I remember reading that you need to, but we got a guide. We got a
yeah.
tour guide that was able to speak English and keep with my pace, so slower, you know.
Yeah.
He saw us, we're a family, so like we were right on in line with each other. So we found the right guide for us. There were some that were younger, more, had more energy level, and probably would have had us like exhausted and smoked by the time we got to the top. But
Yeah.
you're right. If I hadn't gotten the tour guide that we got, the experience would have been completely different. We probably would have only made it so far. We wouldn't have understood each of the history behind all of the different areas and the different buildings that we were seeing, and and we wouldn't have noticed the bigger mountain off to the side, or the types of villages that we could see off in the
So
mountainsides.
your vision of your experience was
Yes,
completely expanded.
exactly. So why don't we
Yeah.
do that for ourselves? That makes 100% sense. And you're right. As a nurse by trade, I'm one of the, we always say nurses are the worst patients because we don't take care of ourselves. We take care of
Yeah.
everybody else around us, but when it came to us, we're non-compliant. We're not taking care of ourselves. We're not working on our health. We're not doing what we should do for ourselves because we're so busy being selfless and taking care of everybody else. So
Yeah.
absolutely. All
Yeah.
right. So it's okay. What is your why?
Oh, my why?
Yes.
You know what? I grew up with very jealous, very nasty experiences, in particular at school and friendships, and girls being exclusive. Girls growing up so nasty.
They are.
And I just innately knew, because my thing was, can't we just all be friends?
Right.
And I never sort of fitted in. But as I went through my own healing, that started to change. My tribe came together because I healed what was happening inside of me.
Yeah.
There is an incredible power in women becoming empowered and linking arms and spreading that out. And I know the freedom that I experienced. I would never imagined myself at 55 years ago to be and feel how I feel today. So it's my passion and purpose to wake up and empower women, to have self-worth, to create the life that they love. Yes. I've got 2 daughters. I mean, I want to do that for my daughters and also for my son, and have my son choose a woman that's like that. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So, why? Because we're all connected. And I want everyone else, every woman around the world, to feel how I feel about myself these days. Yeah. To have, to feel how I feel about the life that I've been creating, with my husband and my children, and and there are challenges at times always to get there, but that's life. That's the buzz when you come through the other side of the challenge. And I feel like I was born to support women to feel and know their inner power. Right. And it would be amiss of me not to share what I know. Exactly.
No, well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with women out there. I 100% agree with you. I, as a nurse leader, am always constantly empowering our nurses, our new nurses, new generation of nurses, to continue to grow and evolve and be a sponge and learn everything. And I don't think we have enough of that. I think, when the old saying goes, nurses eat their young, there's some truth to that, and it's unfortunate. So being in a position where I have influence and I can help lead and guide and mentor, that's what I want to do, is to be able to empower our nurses to want to be better clinicians, to be better people, and to be better contributors to our community. So always continue to grow, evolve, do things at work, but don't just do it for a 9 to 5 or just to, for a paycheck, but do it because you love to do it. And I always tell them, the moment that you're no longer enjoying your work, you need to get out of here, because then you're putting patient care and quality in jeopardy. Because if you're not enjoying it and you're just kind of going through the motions, then you're not constantly curious, and that's when mistakes can happen. So for sure.
Do you know what the power is, Jasmine, with your leadership, which is just divine, is my business name is Inner Expressions, because personal leadership, to me, leadership of any kind, starts within the inner.
Right.
And you've got this powerful presence about you and in how you express that leadership, because you innately know too that it comes from within.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
So it's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So Kate, tell me, what is your highest value for you? We've spoke about empowerment as your why, but when it comes to value and characteristics in yourself or in others, or what you strive to have, what would you say?
Connection.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I've got my values for work, and I've got my sort of essence for my business and stuff. So the first one that came to mind is connection. And that's been me since I was born. That part of me going, can't we all be friends?
Exactly. Yeah.
And that idea of women linking arms and raising each other up. And I think, in true connection comes that kindness. It comes the compassion.
Yes.
There's that unconditional essence within connection.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear the authenticity in your wanting connection. I hear, it's not connecting because I want, especially in this day and age with our younger generation, like I want more friends on social media, or I want this and that, it's non-materialistic. It's just true.
Yeah.
I'm hearing very true, authentic connection is what you're looking to make. And I definitely see that in you as well, in our conversation.
Oh, thank you. I have no agenda. Do you know what I mean? I got interviewed once, my first podcast interview, and the guy said to me, I've interviewed over 50 plus top coaches, and he said, you're the first that really comes across with no agenda.
Yeah.
And I said, because I'm doing this, because I'm born to do this, because, it's, connection.
Exactly. Beautiful. So elaborate on one of your videos that I looked through on YouTube, was titled Outsmart Self-Sabotage. And you went on to speak about it a little bit, but how can you elaborate a little bit more to our viewers how to identify self-sabotage?
And the self-sabotage is all those things that we say to ourselves, and I'm too tired, I'll put it off till tomorrow, I don't know enough, I'm too busy. Do you know what I mean? And when we make the commitments and then we backpedal. But to outsmart it is, how do advertising companies imprint certain products into us? It's subliminal advertising.
Yeah.
So why can't we do the same to ourselves?
Right.
So if we create statements, and this one's really powerful, so we can set ourselves up for success for when that sabotage comes in. Okay. And I've seen people, when I've run my workshop, which is now a free resource on my website, where people sort of, when you have that initial, all that excitement of, yes, I'm going to create this and I'm going to create that. And I get them to do stuff for when the sabotage comes in. If they don't do it, sabotage wins out. Yeah. So statements are really powerful, feeding that super conscious aspect of us, that knowing part of us. But there's no point just having them in your head. You've got to have them written down somewhere. So when you're in sabotage and you go to the bathroom, you've read it. So you're feeding back into that subconscious. Now, affirmations aren't enough. Affirmations, people have come to me for years going, Kaye, affirmations don't work. Like, I know.
Yeah.
Power statements do, though. What's the difference? Affirmations. People make them way too long, so it's completely watered down.
Okay.
and they say way too many of them.
Oh.
Okay, so if you want to hit the bullseye is like that, isn't it? It's not like that. So we fill our statements up with fluff that completely diminish the power of it. So here's something important, and this is about us being empowered. First thing in the morning, the power statement will be, I choose.
Okay.
Therefore I am. So it's like, it's power of change is in our hands. I choose a life I love. Stake in the ground. Therefore I am living a life I love.
Okay.
Then throughout the rest of the day, you can just use the I am, because you've already staked that claim. Now, if you look at your power statements, you know, quite often people will write 2 or 3 of them, and I'll go, that's actually the same thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And it's so simple, such a simple thing, but just now putting that into your subconscious as you go about your day, it's there, and it reminds you. It's a constant.
You've got to write it up. You've got to write it up.
Okay.
Because you'll start all fired up, and you'll wake up first thing in the morning. And I usually say to people, you do that, I choose, therefore I am, before you get out of bed. Throughout the day, you can align to your I ams, and last thing at night, align to your I ams. And they'll be all fired up until that unconscious pattern, all the false stories starts to bubble up and go, hold on a moment. You know? So if you have it written up, you're brushing your teeth, it's in front of you, you automatically read it.
Right.
So you're choosing which fuel, you're choosing which part of yourself you're going to listen to.
Okay.
Okay. And then again, images around the place. So I tell my power posters, if you look through a photo album of your past, doesn't it evoke feeling and memory and
of course,
to it? Oh my God, I remember that trip to Peru. That was incredible. And your energy, you know, it starts to fire up.
Yeah.
So I encourage people to create what I term a power poster. Now, I've learned from doing this for over 30 years for myself and then with others, there is a key to it. And I ask people to get a large sheet of cardboard, whatever color you want, but I tend to use white now because it represents the space in my life and the light in my life, all that good stuff. I now will download images off the internet and statements that match the life that I'm choosing to live. Then I cut it out. Now, in the cutting out, I'm all about being mindful and intention. So as I'm cutting it out, I'm not just hacking it, I'm making it beautiful because I'm shaping my life.
Okay.
Cutting out and shaping my life. So I'm taking great care with it. Then you lay it down on the poster. Usually in the middle have a photo of yourself or you and your partner or you and your family, whatever it is, but because your life is built around you.
Yeah.
Right? Creating your life. Yeah. So from here. And then I say to people, don't collage it, because do you want your life that busy that you've got no space to breathe? No space to be?
Yeah.
Now, here's a funny story. A woman that I've been coaching for, well, maybe 15 years and working with in healing and stuff, she's done this workshop, which is now a free resource on my website, maybe about 10 times.
Okay.
Years ago, about 8 years ago, she was taking a trip with a girlfriend overseas.
Yeah.
And she put all these images of these men. Oh, have some fun. And I'm like, you've got way too many men on there. Oh, no. And I said, no, seriously. She, hand on heart, she came back from that trip and she said, oh my God, Kaye, I will never do that again. I was not left alone by wherever I went.
Oh my goodness.
And I said, well, that's what you had on your poster, girlfriend.
Yeah.
So,
that's
you know,
so
be
funny.
mindful. And if you collage it, it's all too busy. Because again, this is a snapshot. This is a photo.
Yeah.
This is a window into the life that you're moving into. Okay, so have space. Make sure it looks balanced. Have a combination of words and images to work with the two sides of the brain, and let it have a flow about it. So you should be able to stand there. I've got one in my bathroom, so when I'm in the shower, and I've laminated it, stuck it up, blue tacked it up to the door. So when I'm in the shower, I'm reading it out loud and I've got the images that go with the words.
Yeah.
It's got a beautiful flow to it. And it you know, once you glue it down and glue it all down, remember you're gluing this, you don't want unstuck edges.
Right.
Get your life into place. Have it rock solid. and
Yeah.
laminate it, because one, it protects it, it brings light to it, and you can stick it up on a wall.
Yeah.
And then look at it. Does it have power to you? Do you feel? And they're like, yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
So every time you're reading it and watching the story of it, you've got the feelings firing up.
Mm-hmm.
So you're overcoming that self-sabotage. You've got all this stuff in place that feeds that superconscious, that feeds that knowing self to counteract
Uh-huh.
when the sabotage is coming up.
Okay. Wow.
Choose the fuel you put in your car. When you go to the service station, you've got all these choices of different grade fuels, don't you?
Uh-huh. Yes.
So don't we need to do the same thing? Choose the fuel that we put into ourselves.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. So it sounds to me, it's what I guess know it as is like a vision board. And a vision board happens generally once a year. People say, you know, with the new year, here's your New Year's resolution. What is your vision board for the year? How often do you suggest that a board like this is created? How often should it be created? And
Minimum once a year. But what can happen is, and the reason I don't call it a vision board, and I respect anybody on whatever they want to call it, but for me, the reason I don't call it a vision board is people go, I had a vision. And then you go, yeah, but is it real?
Yeah.
Is that vision real?
Right.
Whereas for me, power poster, it has power for me. This is powerful. This is so, because words again have power.
Yeah.
But that's not, I don't, anyone can call it whatever they want, but I just wanted to share that. So, because the vision, was that vision real?
Right.
Is that really going to happen? Is that,
yeah. No, I love that. I love the power behind the word power poster and the phrase. And I love the suggestions that you've made with making sure you're taking the time to trim that picture or photograph and really be intentful with what you're doing and gluing it and making sure the edges are down and making sure it's rock solid and laminating to protect it. Like all those little things that you're doing, those inconsequential things you may think you're doing really adds up to how you're wanting to bring
intention. Intention is powerful. Mindfulness, ceremony. It's a ceremonial thing. And you don't glue it down, you place it and then you stand up and look at it and go, does it have power?
Yeah.
If it does, then I can glue it. So to me, a minimum of once a year. But what can happen is, you know, some people will go through an exponential growth. So the power poster they made, 5 months down the track, they may look at it and go, needs to be tweaked.
Yeah.
Because I've grown.
Right.
So then you can just make a new one.
Okay.
But at least once a year. And sometimes you could have two. Because again, you don't want to cram everything into one. Right. So if you're wanting to look at your health and well-being and fitness and your business, and I usually say sort of do a business one and then do your health. You know, you don't want it overly crammed. Remember, it's got to have that flow to it.
Right. That's what I'm hearing as well, as I can see myself doing a health and fitness one, but then also doing like a career and education or one, and just having two very separate ones, because they are very separate aspects of your life. But you know, so you don't want to. I like that, not cramming it all in, because I've seen posters and boards with various things just kind of collaged all over and pasted on there, and it's just like, that's a lot. You know, and how are you able to look at that and get like feel comfortable looking at it when there's so much going on?
Because it's a reflection of the I want.
Yes.
I'm busy. My life is full. Yeah. Which doesn't really fulfill anybody, because we've got everyone's craving those, you know, I call them stabilizers, those moments that we need in our life that most women deny, that are as important to us as the air we breathe and the food that we eat. For me, it's meditation. For me, it's journaling. For me, it's exercise.
Yeah.
For me, it's walking with the dog. For me, it's dancing around the house.
Right.
If I take those things, if I take away meditation, if I take away journaling, if I take away exercise, I feel lost.
Right.
Stagnant.
Yeah.
Exhausted.
Right. No guidance.
So I was coaching a group of women last year, and it ran into the beginning of the year. So I said, yeah, look, obviously you have a break at Christmas time. And I said to them in the first coaching, who dropped the ball? Every single hand went up. And I said, so how are you all feeling? And they all came out with the same words. Stressed, overwhelmed, exhausted.
Right.
And I said, right, now we're going to look at what your stabilizers are, because for everyone it could be a little bit different.
Okay.
And then these are the non-negotiables. Even if you meditate for 5 minutes, even if you do a 5-minute workout, it's not how long you do it for, it's the fact you honored, it's the fact you took a breath. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's why they stabilize us.
All right. So,
sorry, just with your power poster, don't put it in the cupboard, ladies. Don't make it and then hide it in the cupboard. Get it up. It needs to be seen.
Oh, that's where they go? No.
For a lot of people, they do.
Yeah.
Well, to putting it up.
Well, I'll be honest to say that, mine seem to exist in my head. I have not ever actually made one. I know that it's out there and people always encourage that it's a great thing to have as a visual, but it's in my head and I've never actually taken the time to create one. Because again, I feel like it's just, maybe it's because I see that collaged version and I feel like that still doesn't make sense to me. You've just taken all this time to throw a bunch of junk on there and it just seems crowded and exhausting. But seeing and hearing it the way that you've explained it really makes more sense. So
I'd love to hear back how you feel bringing all of that into this world. And you've also touched on another really powerful point, Jasmine, and that is, when you watch a movie and you see the trailer and it's all the best bits condensed into a few minutes.
Yes.
This is another practice that's so powerful and yet so simple. I teach people a lot of stuff and they go, oh, that seems a bit simple. And I'll go, well, do you want me to complicate it for you? But the process is, I can sit here now and I could type an email to you and press send, and moments later across the other side of the world, you're going to receive it, aren't you?
Yes.
Seems really simple, doesn't it?
Yes.
But the workings on what's going on behind in the background is quite complex.
Yeah.
So we can take really simple things, but they're actually really, really powerful because what's going on in the background is more complex.
Yeah.
So this is beautiful for you because you're obviously also quite visual in your head. So if you take that life that you're aspiring to create and those results and those changes, and you create a short movie, that short trailer, and you sit and intentionally run that through your mind every day. Okay, so when I'd left my first husband and I had 3 children in tow, single mother, and I took 3 years to make sure I didn't date anybody because I didn't want to manifest another partner that was the same in a different body.
Right.
Okay, so I took time for me to grow, for me to move some stuff. But when I felt ready to meet somebody, my short trailer was every day I'd get into the bath at one point in time when the kids were all at school and I could just have a peaceful, warm moment. And my trailer was that I was dancing around the house because that represented me and joy. And I actually do love to dance around the house.
Yeah.
And a man would come in through the door. He had a suit and tie on, which represented very different to my first husband that is the artist. And sort of the starving artist. So this represented, he had a rock solid job. He had everything going on for him. And he would stand there and watch me admiringly, because then it made me feel like, because I never felt noticed by my first husband. And then he would just come up, put his hands around my hips, have a little dance and kiss me on the back of the neck. And then he'd go to get changed. That was my short movie. And that to me represented connection, love, appreciation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And guess what my now husband does? He'll come behind me if I'm dancing, put his hands around my hip, kisses me on the back of the neck, lifts my hair, kisses me on the back of the neck, and we've been together for 18 years.
Oh, very nice.
I did the short trailer over and over and over and over and over again. And that's what I created.
Beautiful. I will definitely follow up with you at a later time and tell you what trailer I've created for myself. All right. So if somebody is wishing to pursue a new journey, but have self-doubt, you know, and they come to you and they've watched this video, they've heard this podcast, and they say, you know, I still have this self-doubt. How do you guide them to say that, you know, this is when you know that you are in the driver's seat and not the passenger seat of life? What is it that you can tell them as guidance?
Do you know what? If that's a great question. And if they come to me and they're having all that self-doubt, first, but they're inquiring about working with me,
right?
You're stepping into the driver's seat of your life.
There you go. Yeah.
Because you're taking an action.
Exactly.
And you're also being authentic.
Yeah.
So I had one woman ring me a couple of weeks ago and she said, oh, but I see on your website or your Facebook page that you work with motivated women.
Yeah.
Now she had a tragic history, and we spoke and I said, you're perfect to work with. And she goes, why? But I'm not motivated. And I said, yes, you are, because you've rung me up.
Yeah.
You're telling me all this stuff, all these challenges that you've been going through, but you've not once come across as the victim. All you've talked about is the change,
right,
that you seek. That's a motivated woman. That's someone, if she follows through, is in the driver's seat of her life.
Yeah.
Now, the key there is the follow through.
Exactly.
We can have moments of jumping. Some women are in the back seat.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you ring and you know that person can really help you, but then you sabotage.
Yeah.
You know, so one of my clients, again, who's been working with me for years, this same woman that was up leveling and the 3 kids and stuff, when COVID happened, because she had different branches to her business, one branch was teaching. But and you know, that provided a good income with everything else that she was doing.
Yeah.
But during COVID and having that break where everything shut down, she really realized that she actually needed to give that up, which was very secure, in order to up level and bring on the new staff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds a bit weird though, doesn't it? What, you're going to give up some security, financial, but you're going to up level your business. And then she said, because she hadn't been coached with me for a while, and she rang up, she said, I need coaching. I have to be coached. I don't know how I'm going to do it. And I said, well, the fact that you're ringing me up saying that, we'll work out a plan for you, because I've known you, I've been coaching you for years. And she said, right, okay, book me in. 5 days later, she rang up. She said, it's okay, I can pay for it. And that happens so often when women make a commitment.
Yeah. Yeah.
To show up, to invest in themselves, the universe will find a way to come and go, beautiful. And she said, I don't need that payment plan, Kaye. I'm fine.
Oh, nice.
Do you know what I mean? So, so we can move in and out of the driver's seat. So I knew, and it's funny that when I, all those years ago, decided I need a coach, I was actually driving, listening to an audio book.
Right.
Funny, someone pointed out to me the other day, so you were in the driver's seat when you realized you needed a coach. Yeah. But then I know about sabotage, so what I did is I came back, I stated it to my husband, and then I went onto Facebook and declared, I need a coach. Anyone can recommend? Because I knew then once I declared it out on somewhere, a platform, I couldn't backpedal.
Right. Yeah.
I set myself up to, I have to keep moving forwards.
Exactly. You've already taken that step. There's no going back, for sure.
Yep. And the first coach I got, my husband said, that's fine, go for it. We can take it out of the mortgage. Well, I did 12 months with that coach and I didn't need to take 1 penny out of the mortgage.
Wow. All right. Okay.
So I was prepared to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha. So tell us a little bit more about Inner Expression. Tell us what services you offer, the types of demographics that you cater to, and really what all there is about it.
So generally women, you know, 35 plus, because I think when we get to 35 plus, we really start looking at, oh my gosh, what life do I want to create?
Right. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's a little bit more of that introspection that comes in about what we want. Doesn't mean I couldn't take someone younger, but generally it's like, okay, so 35 plus, and just generally women that want to create change, you know, but feeling a little bit stuck and overwhelmed, time poor, excuses, and they know that they need the support to do it. Yeah. You know, they know, like, so I'm going for this, but, you know, I need that support to get there. And I need those skills. And so what I do is I've got a 12-week group program called the Launching Pad. And I only take 8 women maximum because I don't want anyone to get lost in the crowd. Right. Do you know what I mean? And yeah. I want everyone to get the value. And with 8 women on a platform, on a coaching platform, I can definitely, it's manageable. You know, it's manageable and everyone gets to have a voice. Right. If it grows beyond that, you'll get people that'll sit in the shadows and, you know, and the time that you have with me is diminished. Right. And, you know, we really dismantle the limiting beliefs, you know, thoughts and stories. We visit money because so many women have issues around money. You know, we realign, we reclaim time. So you actually can have everything that you love and in all those areas of your life. Yeah. You know, and we basically get you moving and also understanding the process and expanding your capacity for more love, success, abundance, and joy in your life. Because we all have a set capacity. Have you ever been in a position where, you know, a lot of women will go, oh, yeah, I have just enough money. And then excess comes in. So we find a way to get rid of it to come back to our, so we need to expand our capacity for more in different areas of our life. And then, basically get them back into the driver's seat of their life, taking action, getting the outcomes and understanding the process so that when it comes around again in their life, that they like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm onto this. I know what to do. If that makes sense. So there's that 12-week program, or if women like to work with me one-on-one, then we take that same 12-week process, but you get that intimacy of the one-on-one. And that's where it can also be a little more fluid and elements of it designed specifically for that one individual as well. So I love personally when I work with a coach, I love that one-on-one attention and go much deeper and do you know what I mean? And it's purely only focused on me, but that's what I like. Exactly. And I'm about to start up a 4-week meditation and insight group again, which will be on Zoom. And that's just, you know, that's a really expensive way to get to know me, to set your foundations. Because like I said before, meditation really is that root system where we get to change and command our mind and our spirit and our emotions, tap into that knowing that we all have all that power and potential within us. You know, 20 minutes of meditation, good meditation is the equivalent of 4 hours good sleep. Oh, wow. You just need a bit more rest, you know, to expand and amp our energy up and align us with the outcomes that we want. That really is a foundational point. Yes, and then I have free resources because I love to be of support. So the 1-day Power Up Your Life workshop that I've run for 15 years is now only just launched on my website. So you get to download a beautiful workbook, and I've created 3 videos to take you through the process. And there we're looking at some of those unconscious limiting beliefs and stories, dismantling that, behaviors on how we respond because of those programs that are in us, the realigning to, you know, to the more powerful, talking you through goals, language, you know, the diminishing language we use and powering up that language, and then also talking you through how to make your power poster. So, you know, it's not the same as being in the room with me where I can tap in, but I had one woman contact me the other day just saying, oh my God, I'm halfway through the program because I've just been made redundant in COVID the 2nd time. And she said, I'm crying and crying and crying in the most healing, releasing, empowering kind of way. Oh, good. So, you know, it's still work. So that's something that the women can take themselves through. You just fill out the form. You're not going to get spammed by me. I'm not interested in that. Good. You know, and I've also got 3 free guided meditations that they can tap into. One of them is 10 minutes, you know, because we don't always have a half an hour or so. So they're all different time frames dealing with different things as a sense of support for women. So yeah, group coaching, one-on-one coaching, meditation insight group about to start. And once COVID and everything's cleared, I'm going to be looking at some retreats as well.
Oh, nice. Retreats in there in Australia?
No, I'll probably utilize Bali because that's central for everybody. One of the retreats will be, you don't have to have worked with me, but the other retreat will be for those that have gone through the launching pad process.
And have that basics there. Yeah. Okay. Well, awesome. I would definitely, I did look through your website when we first connected. And so I'm going to go back now and look for those things and really just tap into some of those resources that you're speaking of so that I can help share with my people. But
the Power Up Your Life one's on the front page. So just scroll down and then just click on the resources tab. And you'll see the meditations.
Awesome.
There.
And Kaye, just for our listeners and viewers, can you also tell them where the resources are found? What's the website?
kayedoran.com. So KAYEDORAN.com. You can also find me on Facebook under Kaye Doran, but also Inner Expressions is my business page as well there. And you know, if anyone's got any questions or anything like that, I'm a very open person. You know, I'm just here to make a difference. So, you know, feel free to reach out to me.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, Kaye, if I gave you a billboard and you can write one thing on that billboard, what would it be?
You're worth it.
Nice. Very beautiful. And I think that's a message that anybody can relate to. You know, it doesn't have to be male, female, poor, rich, skinny, large, whatever the case may be. Any background, that's a message that anybody can relate to. You know, 5-year-old, 50-year-old, does not matter. So wonderful. All right. So sometimes we don't know what we don't know. So are there any questions that I have not asked you that I should have asked?
No, I think we've actually covered a lot. You know, my statement that I came up with years ago really is the power of change is in your hands. And it really is. You know, it really is. And it's all about self-worth, but also self-acceptance. You know, we're all horribly human. We all have elements about ourselves that don't seem pretty, but it's when we can come to self-acceptance, then we start to feel more whole. And you know, I just want everybody, men and women alike, to know that it's your birthright. You know, it's your birthright to live a life you love. But according to your values. Not everyone wants to jet set around and trap. Some people just, you know, want a beautiful family life, but it's your birthright. So, you know, that I choose, therefore I am. Name it, claim it, buckle in, get uncomfortable, but you're not going to be uncomfortable through the whole process, just through the initial. And just remember, you know, people talk about being in flow, and then if things get oh, I'm out of flow. No, you're not. A river also flows over and around rocks and obstacles. That we need to, if you're aspiring for a change in a certain area of your life, and certain things will happen in your life to say to you, are you going to respond from that successful self or from your art self? Because remember, we have to grow into that next of us. So everything that comes to us is designed for us to level up. And if we can take responsibility for that and ask that question, and one other little key, until I love to talk and I love to share. Am I being proactive or am I being reactive? Am I reacting out something old? And another question is, will this get me to my end result? You know, so it's a little bit like a couple being an argument. If you actually go, but you're seeking closeness and connection and love, and you can stop and go, well, one, I'm reacting something out. And is this getting me the end result of close connection and love? No. So do the opposite.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautifully said. Well, thank you so much, Kaye. It's been such a pleasure having you on and discussing all of this. And you've given me a lot of great food for thought analogies that I just never thought about, but now I have a great visual to attach to the, everything that we've discussed. So thank you. Um, and I really appreciate it. And I think our listeners are going to have a great time learning a lot from you as well. So I really appreciate it.
Bless Desmond, and thank you very much for allowing me this time to come on and have this conversation with you. And I think you're an incredible woman. Just
Thank you.
keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much. If we can touch one person with this podcast and this YouTube video, we've done our job. So I will be happy with that. That's all I need. So thank
Beautiful.
you.